Hello everyone, this is AndresRestart, and today we are going to have a discussion about the long-rumored The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD. As the title suggests, we're going to be speaking on some recent leaks coming from what I believe to be the most prominent leaker ever in Midori, and how there was something they said that seems to be offering some bit of hope for those that have been wanting this. Now, to be clear, some bit of hope. We're questioning this, we're talking about it. It doesn't mean that we're getting Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD tomorrow or even this year. It's an uncertainty right now, and I think that's why it's an interesting conversation, because we are not sure what's going on with these games. And so that's what I would like to talk more about today. But before going forward, let me ask that if you do enjoy my content, to please subscribe and hit that notification bell. So here's the basic story. Midori, who has an incredible track record, has put out a whole bunch of leaks for different video game companies, including Nintendo as of late, and they said something regarding Zelda pretty recently. There is a project at Nintendo with the code name Edward. This might be related to the rumors of a new Zelda series title. So we actually discussed this leak last week, and basically the overall interpretation by most is that this is some kind of new 2D Zelda game. Link's Awakening remake was codenamed Richard, and Edward and Richard go as a pair in history because there are a set of princes that go by those names, and typically these names of royalty pertain to different types of Zelda games. If there's a specific named person, then it's some sort of 2D style Zelda game, but if it's a royal name in the sense of like playing cards like Joker, Queen, Jack, then that's probably some kind of 3D Zelda entry. And with the reports of Switch 2 coming out early next year, and then a rumor or prediction coming from Papagenos, who has put out some truthful things in the past, also seems to line up with some sort of Zelda release happening soon, the implication seemingly being for this year. There is a growing thought process that 2D Zelda is going to be one of Nintendo's bigger announcements during the upcoming Nintendo Direct, and we could be seeing it coming out sometime during this holiday of 2024. And this is a direction I've personally been leaning more into. But if we are to be getting a 2D Zelda game, which I think would be amazing if we're going to get the next mainline new entry in the 2D Zelda series, but if it's something else, it kind of depends on what it is. But if we are getting this, it then sort of raises some doubt about the other possibilities for Zelda releases like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD. So these games initially came out on the Nintendo GameCube, but were both remastered and enhanced for the Nintendo Wii U, but the Wii U was a console that did not sell well. And so Nintendo throughout the entire Switch era has brought over a lot of Wii U games to try and give these Wii U projects that didn't see as much success as they probably deserved, see a larger audience on Switch. And at this point, late in the game, there's only just a few Wii U games left that would make sense to bring over. Xenoblade Chronicles X, some people would argue Star Fox Zero, but I think you leave that one to be forgotten and you just focus on some other sort of Star Fox project. But then the big ones, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. These have been thought to have been coming for some time, but not just for this reason, but because they've been rumored. And not just from any place, but from reliable places, like Emily Rogers or Andy Robinson for Video Games Chronicle. And so over the years, people have been thinking, okay, at some point they gotta give us these games, and there is this pattern where we tend to see some sort of Zelda release per year, excluding 2022 when Tears of the Kingdom was delayed. And so if our Zelda release this year is 2D Zelda, and this is the last year where Switch 1 is the focus because supposedly Switch 2 is coming out early next year, then have we missed out on the opportunity for Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD? Not necessarily, I would say. But also, admittedly, it is a bit frustrating that we've had to wait this long. Of course, that's what comes with rumors, because even if it's based off real information, perhaps plans get changed, perhaps something can be shelved for an indefinite amount of time, or even cancelled. Of course, the idea of canceling games like this still seems weird to me, because they were remastered for the Wii U already. There wouldn't be that much work to be done. But on to the part where the leaks may offer some semblance of hope here. Because while it has been a long time, and some people may be thinking it's just never going to happen, they were cancelled, shelved forever, or just never existed to begin with, Midori has put something out there that seems to offer some hope. So in this same thread where Midori was talking about the code name for this Zelda project, someone responded by saying, "The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess Remastered." And Midori responds by saying, "I do not know why Nintendo is not releasing it yet." So at face value, all we're getting from this is that Midori doesn't know anything about when it's going to come out. But there's an interesting implication here, that this game exists, and that they're not sure why they haven't released it yet, as if they've known about it. And for Midori, who's leaking things left and right from these different companies, including these big codename products from Nintendo, if there's someone that would know about this stuff, maybe Midori would be one of them. So all this does is give us some extra reassurance that the games exist. But to me personally, it doesn't change that much because I already thought Andy Robinson from VGC and Emily Rogers and the other people who have spoken out on this in the past, like Jeff Grubb for example, I think they all have valid sourcing. But that doesn't mean they always get things right. For whatever reason, there can be changes or misinterpretations. So what Midori's saying here, I don't think really guarantees that Twilight Princess HD is going to happen. But there is another consideration here with these leaks from Midori. So, going back to the Edward project, Midori says this might be related to the rumors of a new Zelda series title. So, what rumors is Midori referring to here? The only prominent rumors that are Zelda related that have been going on right now have to do with a rumor that stemmed from Papagenos. And the basic idea of this rumor is that Papagenos may have been hinting at some sort of 2D Zelda entry where Princess Zelda is taking on more of a significant role. Does that mean she's the only playable character? Does that mean she is a playable character? There's room for interpretation there, and Papagenos doesn't necessarily want you to buy into it totally, but it is something that they are predicting for the Direct. But what makes this interesting is that if this game is not like a traditional new Zelda game, which is what I want it to be, but if it's not, if it's like a spin-off entry, then maybe that opens the door a little bit more for there to be more than just that to come out this year for Zelda fans. And some might think, well, that seems a little crazy. Nintendo wouldn't put two Zelda things in the same year. But while I would make that assumption in most cases, I don't think that has to always be the case. Let's take a look at last year for the holiday. We got Super Mario Bros. Wonder, a mainline 2D Mario game, and then in the following month, in November, we got another Mario game, a remake of Super Mario RPG. And then in February, we got a release for Mario vs. Donkey Kong Remake. And then in March, we got Princess Peach Showtime. And we just got Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door this May, and we're getting Luigi's Mansion 2 HD at the end of this month in just a few weeks, and I completely ignored WarioWare from the holidays. There was a whole bunch of Mario Universe stuff that came out within a short span of time. So Mario has had a big emphasis lately. And a lot of that is to take advantage of the boosted popularity by the Mario Bros. Movie that came out last year and has been continually airing and reaching a larger and larger audience. So it's made a lot of sense. But how would this pertain to Zelda? Mario is a bigger deal, Nintendo's been known to overuse Mario in different ways. This is kind of par for the course for them. Zelda, on the other hand, Nintendo doesn't use in the same way. This is true, but I don't think it will be forever true. I think the Zelda franchise has been growing. I mean, it's not even a thought, it's a fact. We know it's been growing significantly. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom have seen staggeringly high numbers. And even other Zelda releases have been impressive on Switch, like Link's Awakening Remake. And we know Nintendo wants to grow Zelda as a brand. That's why they've been putting out regular, almost annual Zelda releases, because they want it to be frequent. Somewhat similar to Mario, just perhaps not to the same degree. Although we are starting to see Nintendo treat Zelda more and more like Mario though, because, well, late last year they did confirm that they are working on a live-action Legend of Zelda movie. And Wes Ball has been done with the latest Apes movie, so we know his next project is a Zelda movie, so they are working on it. It's being put together, and because it's live action, it's likely not going to take as long as the CGI Mario movie. That's typically how these things go. Now, I'm not saying the movie is coming out extremely soon, but some significant news could be coming sooner than some are expecting, perhaps this year or sometime next year, like maybe a cast reveal, for example. But also interestingly, the Zelda Lego that we've talked about a few times over the last year or so has finally been confirmed that it's coming out this September. And this Deku Tree set is being said to just be the beginning. There are more to come, and there's a whole bunch of Mario Lego sets. That's something that they were definitely pushing. There were several sets in the lead up to the release of the Mario movie. So Nintendo could be going in a similar direction here, where they are finding different ways to branch out the Zelda series, and that may also include multiple releases. So is it completely out of the question to think that maybe somehow Nintendo could finally release these old Zelda remasters for Wind Waker and Twilight Princess this year, maybe just one of them, and then also there's a 2D Zelda spin-off. It's possible. I wouldn't say it's totally out of the question. Am I going to predict it? No. But you never really know how Nintendo may do things. I wouldn't have predicted before they announced all these different Mario Universe games last year that they would all be coming out in this quick of a succession. I would have thought that Nintendo would have varied up a little bit with some of their other IP. But they didn't. It's all Mario Universe stuff, which is fine because there's still variety there, and this definitely is a transition period over to the next generation. But my point is that sometimes Nintendo does things that are very odd and are hard to predict. Which brings us back to what Midori said about Twilight Princess Remastered. They do not know why Nintendo is not releasing it yet. It is a mystery to us. What I will offer though is some of my own personal speculation on what they could be doing with these if they are not coming out this year. And I think it could be something as simple as spacing out their content. They're not necessarily beholden to this idea of needing to put out a Zelda release every single year. But also, as we progress into the next generation, with Switch 2 seemingly coming out next year, the Switch 1 is going to continue to phase out. But, similar to the way Nintendo handled the 3DS, how the 3DS had games coming out from Nintendo 2 years into the life cycle of the Switch, Nintendo may want to do the same for Switch 1 while Switch 2 is out. They may want to put out some games during that era, so for those that haven't moved on from Switch 1, they have something new to play. And perhaps new should be treated with an asterisk, because most of these games would be remakes and remasters. That's how it was for 3DS, that's how it is right now even before the Switch 2 has come out, and it'll be even more so that once the Switch 2 is out for the Switch 1 library. But that would be the perfect fit for something like Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD. Maybe Nintendo would want to put something for Zelda fans that aren't ready to move on to Switch 2, if they do have something else Zelda related for Switch 2 early on as well. So we'll see what happens with this upcoming Nintendo Direct. We do not know what the announcement will be. Technically, there may not be anything Zelda. I think there will be something Zelda, but we don't know. And if it doesn't happen this year, well, I'll personally be more focused on what's to be coming next, but, you know, at some point or another, I'm sure we'll see these games again. Perhaps even within the next couple years as Switch 1 is phasing out. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. This is AndresRestart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.